Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, May 22nd, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you get any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area. I'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here, July corn unchanged at 461. July soybeans were down a penny and 3/4 at 1061. And July Chicago wheat was down 3/4 at 548.5. We had weekly export sales released here this morning. Another solid week for old crop corn, 1,190,800. Estimates were looking anywhere between 700 and 1.6 million. So we still continue to do old crop corn business. New crop, 218,400. That was kind of right in the middle of what they were expecting. Soybeans, old crop, 307,900. That's the upper end of what they were looking for. New crop, pretty disappointing, 15,000 net new crop sales there for beans. On the wheat side, we had net cancellations on the old crop of 13,400, but very solid in new crop sales, 882,200. Upper end of the range was looking for like 700,000 there. Meal, 359,600. That was solid. New crop, 23,100 as expected. And oil, sold a little bit of old crop, 13,700, and no sales reported for the new crop there. Good morning, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. We've got the big, beautiful bill passed the House, so now we're on to the Senate. It'll be interesting to see, what revisions and the negotiating now that's going to take place over there. They're still trying to get this thing done by the 4th of July. Here is the talk, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what that plays out, certainly for our markets as well. We've got bean oil volatility overnight. I know we'll talk a little bit about that as well, but we opened sharply lower in the bean oil complex on some rumors, news there. So with that, guys, why don't Dustin give us a few thoughts here this morning, and we'll throw around the room.
Yeah, Dan, a little market frustration overnight again. We've got more just rumor mill sending markets in disarray. Soybeans were down 5 on the open, led by soybean oil. And the rumor was the petroleum group said we may be seeing a massive amount of, small refinery exemptions released by the White House, which would, obviously be bearish for biofuels. In the first term, Trump's first term, this was the case. There's many waivers given out, and that was, we get to that. The mandate versus enforcement question. I think the market, if this is true, obviously the market's right to sell off. But I think there's a bigger question too of why is the rumor not public knowledge in the first place? What's the insider information that's being transferred around? And I'd say the bigger concern is it true, and why is that just being leaked to special interests at this point?
No, that's a good point. Justin, anything to add there?
No, I mean, we've talked about this many times. It's it's unfortunate. I mean, it happens obviously a lot in equities. We were talking about, you see these massive options trades that a savvy investor would never make, $1 million trades that expire in, less than a week and have, very long shot of happening, but seem to always work, to the tune of 200 to 500% returns like in a day. And we're seeing that, in our markets. I mean, we're seeing it and this environment's ripe for rumors, and it draws either insider trading, fake rumors, to get the market to move, because the market's obviously edgy with, any kind of new information on trade wars, policy, etc. And no one ever seems to get caught for it. Even to the degree where, notable news outlets report it and from an inside source or from someone familiar with the matter, never has a name to it. And then half the time, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. So very frustrating. I mean, of all the things that you should try to keep pretty sacred, putting out big news stories like that moves the markets and causes real losses to people, I think should be regulated a lot more stringently. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you get the CFTC worrying about 24-hour, 7-day-a-week trading times.
Yeah, even easier to manipulate, thinner markets and algos. And I think it's a horrible idea. At some point, you already have a monopoly on the market, and then to make it even more geared towards automated trading and, less participants. I think just a bad thing for the market in general.
Dustin, something to add there? I saw you pop on.
Yeah, no, I think, how much time is needed for price discovery. I get why they went to the overnight markets to make sure that there were no competing exchanges. That makes total sense. But like to say that there's not enough market access is kind of crazy, right? Like you can definitely get what we need done within the 7 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. We're basically already at pretty close to that. I think the market needs a pause to gather information and not be constantly on edge. I will say the other thing I want to just mention is the real has been slowly creeping up, and the dollar index has been falling back below 100. We've mentioned it in the letter. We have some currency backed support behind this move. You got things like Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs, but the real is also kind of staying supported. It's back to the high 17s again. So I think that there are some real reasons of why we've been up the last couple of days. It's not just forecast. Long-term forecast is turning a bit drier, a bit hotter in the ECM 6-week, but I think it's also backed by some currency moves too. I just want to mention that.
Yeah, I would argue that that's really the main reason for the move. I don't think too many people are worried about weather right now. We're sitting pretty good. And there's just not a lot of confidence in. You've been burnt pretty times, no pun intended, on forecasting a drought. 45 to 60 days out. So I think the market maybe got a little short, and then there's just like this back, with the bond market, dollar, all those things. I think there's just a flow into some of these things that might look too cheap, just from a pure value standpoint.
Yeah, Ben, what's on your mind this morning?
I think we're kind of at a crossroads right now here in the grain markets. These corn above its 200, above its 50, above its 20, and trading right at its 100-day moving average. That'll be kind of a wake up to anyone who's shorted if they want to stay here or they want to get out. This is the time of year where you could see a decent seasonal rally. You wonder how much that can be muted because of the amount of acres that we're talking about and the speculation that they could be even larger. But we did a great job of putting a big short underwater, and we'll see what the appetite is to get longer here or to cover short. So felt pretty good last few days to get this far off the lows this quick, and going into a 3-day weekend, all eyes will be on weather forecasts coming out. We start getting a little bit deeper into the calendar. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about the corn market right now. I think beans are looking for some reconciliation of trade war. I think that there's a good underpinning reason to want to be long new crop soybeans, especially this time of the year. But I don't think anyone wants to really go and extend any risk there until they have a clearer picture of how things will work out, especially with China.
Ben, what are you guys saying in terms of progress in the East? I know it's been a talking point in the market that there's some delays, obviously, but are guys starting to get going? What's the feel there?
It's real hit and miss. They get a day in, they get another rain, they got to wait 2 days. It's pretty wet here, particularly south of I-70 in both Indiana and Ohio. There are some people that are done that really got into it early, but I don't think you're going to see a big uptick on Monday in planning progress out of Ohio and Indiana. There'll be some, but it's not like we're going to come back and all of a sudden, be at 50% or 60% planted corn. That's not going to, I don't think that's going to happen. And they will continue to try to stay with corn, and those particularly in southern Ohio, in the eastern part of southern Indiana, because their corn market is extremely robust, and they don't really have a great outlet for beans, particularly the southern half of Ohio.
Very good. All right, we got a couple minutes here. Ryland, stronger cattle yesterday with a really weak outside market picture was a good sign, obviously, and just a little bit of trade up in the north, and then, just overall, I guess, mixed in the hogs. So why don't you give us some thoughts here this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. So finally seeing some cash trade pick up, 230 live in the north, 358, 365 dressed. And there may have been some light trade in the south here too, 224 to 227, but I think the bulk is still going to kind of take place today. And definitely, if they delay it on Friday ahead of the report. So we'll see how that kind of shapes up. I mean, obviously, we're making just a little bit of a recovery here. It's been a couple of days up, and I got to say, it's definitely holding up better than I think most would anticipate. Usually we would see that kind of price action last week and a massive kind of liquidation. That's what everybody was fearing, and we're not seeing that. We're seeing the product market hold up. New highs in box beef, up another 84 cents in choice to 359.59, nearly 360. So all the meat news, all the cash news is still really good here. It just feels like maybe we needed to kind of take a little bit out of the futures for now. But overall, you got the big discount on the board. We'll see what's right in the long term. We got the cattle on feed report on Friday. On feed, May 1 at 98.5, placements at 97.1, at marketings at 96.8 are the estimates. So we'll see. We're gonna. I think there may be some caution just kind of towards the end of the week, just in case you got a big surprise somewhere. But I think the border closure, the Mexican border closure, is still going to be an issue that remains here for the next couple months until maybe the screwworm situation is dealt with in its entirety. But there's really no timeline on that. As of export sales, nothing spectacular on the beef side, but on the hog side of things, we are seeing China coming back to the market, 7,500 metric tons on this week's report. Could add a little bit of support here. We've had a couple days down on the hog side of the market. The market just feels kind of tired here, just kind of leaking lower and waiting to see if we could see some better cash performance, carcass performance. It all just feels so flat right now, even though cash was up $1.90. Yeah, the product market, or at least the carcass, had $1.04, down a little bit. Bellies are down 4.55. So you kind of got a little bit of mixed kind of firm product news, and it just feels like that's all kind of baked into the market right now. And maybe we get a little bit of optimism from these Chinese export sales.
Very good. Appreciate the update there. A couple things to point out there. We've got tomorrow will be Friday, which is everybody's favorite time of the week, and it'll be Fun Fact Friday with Brian. So be sure to tune in. We never know what you're going to get there. So we look forward to talking with everybody. Appreciate everyone that tunes in on a daily basis. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like and certainly subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to do so. It'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on with AgYield. So again, thanks to everybody that supports the show. We're doing this live every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. It was a good show. Hope everybody has a great day, and we look forward to talking again tomorrow.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.